I am so excited to have Miss Tonya Yandle in the building finally. We have been trying to connect for a minute now. I met this young lady. This is actually my first time meeting you in person.
Mm-hmm.
You know, we've done a lot over the phone. We did a Zoom before, I think. I think we did a Zoom before. But I met you because you called about the Bell Fund. And the thing that I wanted to ask was, first off, let's introduce yourself. Tell the beautiful people out here in Faith in Texas world who you are.
I'm Tonya Yandle. I'm right now a civil rights activist. I'm going to school to be a paralegal.
Okay. And so, my question would be, well, how did you find out about Faith in Texas?
Lots and lots of research.
Really?
Yes, lots of research.
So we weren't at the top of the pile.
Well, you were at the top of the pile with a lot of other, not competitors, but helpers, people that, genuinely care about helping people that can't help themselves.
Mm-hmm.
And so that's exactly what I was looking for at that time.
So what intrigued you on our website that said, you know what, I'm going to reach out and call Faith in Texas?
The fact that at first I could not believe that there was a place that bonded, that just would go and pay somebody's cash bond. And sometimes I still, now explaining it to people, they're like, what? I'm like, I know I have that same. I still have a lot of questions when I call, and I'm like, because I wanted, one of the people that I helped and you helped bond out, I wanted him to understand the importance of why he needed to make it to court.
Mm-hmm.
Because that's how we get help, is, rehabilitation and it actually doing its job and it's doing what it's supposed to.
Were you somewhat leery, like after we talked, and I was like, okay, yeah, we're gonna,
Yeah, I thought it was real sketchy.
And I guess it didn't help since I had a 504 number.
Yeah. I was like, well, he's saying, but then I just kept having faith. I kept believing in it.
You said that it was a little bit sketchy, which is crazy because you're not the first person that I actually had to explain and say, hey, we actually do bail people out and we actually don't chase you down. We're not a bounty hunter.
Well, and because y'all aren't nationwide, you're so, y'all haven't branched off yet. That's what to me made it, because like I'm in contact with the Texas Innocence Network, for example, and they branch from the Innocence Project, which is nationwide.
Gotcha.
And so that's what I kind of expected when I looked it up, and I was like, people really are doing this. Like, how is this funded? I mean, I had so many questions, but it was the coolest thing. It was just like, oh man, I found a whole group of people that are just like me. That are just like, I'm gonna pay this and put all the faith in you. And
how did you feel when I gave you the call and was like, okay, so I'm here, about to post Dustin's bond?
Well, at first my head was this big in my little group of people, because I was just like, I did that. That was me. But happy. So when I saw him, he was just so excited that he had never had a group of people just back him. He couldn't believe it. And it changed I swear it changed his whole thought process. He was so rotten before he went to jail. And, just a completely different dude. And then when he got home, it was, growing up, I imagine, growing up in that kind of situation as they did, the people that I'm around, I grew up in a huge family. We were all very loving and close and stuff like that, but that was the best part of it, is that it was just like, hey, I met people that are the same, and we're just gonna be this big, huge support system for you. And that's really what rehabilitation is. As long as you have all them, that's all you need. You just need one person to fight for you, to change.
Can I ask you something? Why do you do this? Why do you do this? Why do you continue to want to help people? Why do you continue to be an advocate and a voice for individuals that are in the same situation as you?
I imagine that it stems from my mom, but I am in this situation because it's a choice. But because I want them to believe that there's good still. That the world that they're growing in and the city that they're in, that's not real life. There is a world outside of this place where you don't watch your back. You're not running from bullets. You don't have people that are, you don't have to watch where you're laying your stuff. You have people that will fight for you. And that was literally why I became, to go into school for it. I became a civil rights activist because I was in jail with a chick. And she just needed to believe that one person would fight for her when they got out. And I wanted to prove to her that they could. And I did.
Wow. Anything you want to tell the people?
That somebody's going to fight for you. That everybody has that one person that's going to back you and fight for you. You're never alone. You're never by yourself. No matter how bad the area or the situation as a family, you can still be positive and happy and fight and believe that there's good in people. It's not all bad.
I'm gonna ask you one last question because we didn't talk about it, and I won't bring it up. But what could Faith in Texas and people, you know, outside of Faith in Texas that are involved in this type of work, what could they do to help you as an individual?
Know your rights. Know that you have due process laws, that you have civil rights. And I know how scary it is to buck the system, but if people don't understand that if one voice is the only voice fighting, and you are the one being harassed, or if this stuff is happening to you, if you don't say something and stand up, it won't change anything. Nothing will change. It will stay the same, and they will continue to do it. As scary as it is. But I mean, everything in life is scary. So if you can fight in the hood, you can fight legally.
Yeah.
I mean,
you're currently in a situation where on Grand Prairie,
yes.
police are harassing a particular population
yes.
out there.
Yes, they are.
You want to say anything about that?
I do. The other evening, I actually saw it. I've actually seen it more than once. I was actually there for 2 instances where one was not as bad as this one, but a man that is dear to me, I see the police they threw him down so hard that you heard his head hit the concrete. And they violated at least 10 of his amendments. And when I called to talk to the sergeant, as I'm on the phone with the sergeant, I'm watching the police officers do what they're doing because none of them would give me their badge, name. Well, I come to find out that it is a sergeant that's on the scene. The sergeant is the one that was doing it. Yes, and this man that is dear to me, he has been dealing with this his whole life. And like Yellow, he's been dealing with it his whole life. Where because you grew up a certain way or you are a certain skin color, they feel like they can profile you. And people are so scared to say, no, you can't. And they don't always have somebody like me saying, you can't do that. I watched them try to pin a crime on him because they knew they had nothing. So they said, and the craziest thing is it was in a church parking lot. And the lady of the church came outside and I walked up to her and I said, I have to use my phone to call their sergeant. Can you please record this? Please. She also had surveillance. So the police officer said he starts looking around a vehicle that's out there. He wears a glove on his hand, so my dear one, because it's a security blanket. We all have those.
Yeah.
But because of this glove, he was accused of trying to break into this vehicle that he was 20, 30 yards from. He was genuinely ahead of me, protecting me, watching me, just checking the area, because he's grew up in that environment where you gotta watch out. I've never ever been afraid to actually walk down my streets. I have to say I was afraid. I was on the phone the entire time with a sergeant because I was afraid to walk from the store to where I live because of the police officer. Somebody that's supposed to protect and serve. I just watched brutally batter and take to jail wrongfully. They can't do that. But nobody wants to fight. Now he doesn't want to fight because he's scared to. Because they can take you, pick you up, and not take you to jail. They're taking you out back to beat you somewhere. It does happen. It is a thing that happens. And we just turn the other cheek and I'll say, that's not me. I'm gonna fight. You have to believe in both sides. You have to believe that there's a badge that's good, and that there is a, I guess you could say, convict or criminal or whatever they want to call their choice of word. You have to believe in people. You have to believe that they're going to fight, that they're going to back you in this fight, because this is a big one. I mean, my professor once asked me what was more powerful, a criminal or badge. Well, the badge is, they got more power than we do. But not all of them are bad. A lot of them are very good police officers. But there are bad ones. And we see a lot less of that. But as much as there are bad criminals, there are bad cops. So you have to believe that you can change that. And I mean, and when you're incarcerated, that is all you have, is faith. When you have nobody. I've been in jail twice, where I had nobody. I didn't even make a phone call the last time I went to jail. And that is the hardest thing. You just have to keep telling yourself that you got this. While there's people out there that will have it for you too. And absolutely nobody is doing it by themselves, unless they choose to. I want to fight for people that can't, and people that can't afford to. But know you have rights and you can fight, and somebody will stand there and fight with you.